Well, we'll cut to Africa now. Yesterday, we did bring you the story of Kenya's inflation dropping and the lowest in, I think, in about 3 months. A good one for them. But let's find out the drivers of that, see if this is just happening or it can be sustained. So joining us to discuss this is a journalist with The Standard. The Standard is in Nairobi, the capital of Kenya, and that is Ferdinand Nwongela. Ferdinand, good afternoon. So what drove this drop in inflation in the country? Because, I mean, a lot of African countries would like to get tips from that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The inflation drop in Kenya has been an interesting subject for journalists for the last 2 months because the shilling strengthened by, I think, 19% in the last quarter alone. That is after dropping continuously since 2020. In 2020, the Kenya shilling was trading at around 100 shillings to the dollar. By January 2024, that was at 161 to the dollar. And then in less than a month, that dropped from 161 to about, over the weekend, about 131, according to the Kenya Central Bank. So several things have been attributed to this drop. The first thing, and I think the biggest that the government has said itself, was that was the Eurobond buyback. I think if you follow the Kenya story, we've had quite a few Eurobonds trading. And one payment was coming due in February, I think around 1.5 to 2 billion shillings. And there were fears that Kenya would not be able to make that payment, which was, of course, would have meant a default. And a default is a scary thing for investors. So in February, Kenya did manage to honor the deal for the I think $2 billion Eurobond buyback. And that strengthened investor confidence. And the government itself has credited this drop to the Eurobond deal. Because 6 months prior, I think from August to January 2024, August 2024, there were a lot of fears. And I think this was when we saw the biggest drop in Kenyan shilling. You remember that Kenya is a net importer, which means our importers were struggling for dollars a lot. In December and January 2024, just before the shilling started strengthening, we had a lot of challenges with imports. We had a lot of challenges with the dollar circulation in the local market. There were reports of importers and banks holding dollars. And one of the things that I'm speaking of what the government said is that the Eurobond money brought more investor confidence and dollars into the market. Of course, there have been separate reports, part of those reports being that maybe the government poured dollars into the market, but that is so far not the official report from the government. But what we can authoritatively report is that in the last 2 months, the Kenyan shilling strengthened by nearly 20%. And of course, these are the ripple effect on consumer goods. We have seen inflation drop, I think, twice in the last 2 months, from 6.9% in January to March, I think, close around 5.7. 5.7 is still higher than recommended, but the government says they're working hard to still bring the inflation rates lower. What we've seen is that due to this, the prices of goods have come dropping. And of course, for us, unga flour, we call it unga here, is an important component of our meals. And that's one of the things we've seen prices dropping. The other one is sugar. Of course, all this is attributed to the fact that now our importers have access to more dollars and that there is the ability to bring more goods into the country. Of course, this has also seen the price of petroleum products. I'm not sure how it is in Nigeria, but Kenyan petroleum products have been on a rise again, going up by nearly 70 Kenya shillings in less than 6 months. But for the first time, I think in the last 3 months, there has been a drop. And we expect, if the government goes by its promises, that this drop will keep, the Kenyan shilling will continue strengthening. Actually, one of the things I think it's important to note is that the drop in February was touted to be the strongest, I think, since in nearly 20 years for the Kenyan shilling. And one of the things that's done is it has moved the Kenyan shilling from being one of the worst performing currencies in the world, I think, to one of the better, I'm not saying the best, but the better performing currencies.
Yeah.
We are waiting to see if that drop will be sustained, but right now the government is promising that it will be.
All right, Ferdinand. I mean, you asked about how we're doing when it comes to the petroleum products in Nigeria. Well, I guess I'll not answer. I'll just say congratulations to you guys there in Kenya. I mean, having the shilling gaining and, of course, having a drop in inflation. And you attesting to the fact that it's actually reflecting in the price of basic commodities, especially food items. I can say congratulations to Kenya on that. But thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you very much.